Losing your spouse is one of the most heartbreaking and life-altering experiences anyone can face. It's not just about dealing with grief, it's about suddenly having to handle everything alone. Bills, choices, family expectations, emotional waves. It can all come crashing down at once. And when you're in that fog, when everything feels raw and unfamiliar, it's really easy to make choices that feel right in the moment, but turn out to be mistakes that cause more pain later on. You're not weak or foolish for doing this. It's just what grief does. It messes with our clarity. In this video, we're going to go over 5 important things you should say no to after losing a spouse. These are the common traps that many people unknowingly fall into. Decisions that seem harmless or even helpful, but end up making healing harder, not easier. My hope is that by the end of this video, you'll feel a little more grounded and a lot more supported. Because navigating grief is hard enough already, and if avoiding these 5 things can save you from even a little extra pain, then it's worth talking about. Let's dive in. Number 1, rushing into major financial decisions. This is one of the most common and honestly most dangerous things people do in those first few months after losing their partner. I get it. When everything around you feels out of control, making quick decisions about money, your home, your assets, it can feel like you're taking charge, like you're doing something productive. But grief is like a fog. It clouds your judgment, messes with your emotions, and makes it nearly impossible to think clearly about long-term consequences. You might feel pressure from friends or relatives, or even from financial advisors, to act now or get things settled. Maybe someone says, "You should sell the house, it's too big," or "You need to invest that money before it just sits there." But here's the truth. Acting fast isn't always acting smart. Most experts will tell you, don't make any major financial moves for at least a year. That includes selling property, making big investments, giving away large amounts of money, or even changing your estate plan. Let me give you an example. Imagine someone like Carol, age 73. After her husband passed, she was emotionally exhausted. She had no desire to keep up with the house they lived in for decades. Her kids were scattered across different states, and a few close friends told her, it's time for a fresh start. So she put the house on the market, moved to a small condo in a completely different city, and tried to start over. But within a few months, she realized the new place felt lonely. She missed her neighbors, her old routine, and the comfort of familiar surroundings. That decision, made in a hurry, left her feeling even more isolated. And moving back, that wasn't easy or cheap. Financial pressure can also come from unexpected places. You might get phone calls about investment opportunities that seem too good to be true, or people you barely know might suddenly appear, offering to help manage your money. Unfortunately, being newly widowed can make you a target for scams or manipulation. If anyone is pushing you to sign documents, move funds, or act now, that's a red flag. Your best move is to hit pause and bring in someone you trust who has no personal interest in your money. And here's another angle: giving money away. This happens a lot. In the haze of grief, some people want to help others, maybe by giving large gifts to their kids, donating to causes, or trying to support a family member who's struggling. And that instinct comes from a beautiful place. But it can also backfire. If you give away too much too soon, you might find yourself financially stretched years down the road. It's okay to be generous, but be thoughtful. You still need to protect your future. That's why the first year after loss should be focused on stability, not big changes. Don't worry about getting everything in order right away. Just make sure the bills are paid, the essentials are covered, and your day-to-day life is manageable. Let the dust settle before making moves that can't be undone. If you need help, find a certified financial planner who has experience working with widows and widowers. Not someone who's just trying to make a commission, but someone who truly understands your emotional and financial needs. Losing your spouse changes everything, and it's tempting to try and take control wherever you can. But the best control comes from patience, not panic. Let your emotions settle. Let your mind clear. Then when you're ready, make your decisions with confidence, not confusion. Number 2, cutting yourself off from people who care about you. Look, grieving is personal. Some days you want to cry, some days you want silence, and some days you just want to be left alone. And that's okay. It's normal to need space. But what isn't okay, at least not long-term, is full-on isolation. That kind of separation can slowly turn into loneliness, and loneliness is a heavy weight to carry, especially when you're already dealing with loss. It starts innocently enough. You stop answering texts, let phone calls go to voicemail, cancel plans with friends. You tell yourself, I'm just not in the mood. But days turn into weeks, and soon it becomes your new normal. And the longer you stay disconnected, the harder it is to reach back out. You start believing that no one understands what you're going through. And maybe they don't. But that doesn't mean you don't need them. Let me tell you about someone like Ron, 79 years old. After his wife passed, he didn't leave the house much. He stopped going to church, stopped meeting his buddies for breakfast, even skipped his granddaughter's birthday. He told himself, they'll be fine without me, or I don't want to bring everyone down. But the truth was he was hurting and alone. It wasn't until his neighbor dropped by with a plate of cookies and invited him to sit on the porch for a chat that something shifted. That small moment of connection reminded him that life was still happening and that people still cared. You don't need to jump into big social gatherings or put on a happy face. Just take one small step, return a call, go for a short walk with a friend, sit with someone in silence. Connection doesn't have to mean conversation. It can just be presence. And sometimes just being in the room with someone else can ease the ache in your chest. And if you feel like the people in your life don't understand, find others who do. Grief support groups, online forums, even social meetups for widows and widowers. These communities exist, and they can make a world of difference. Talking to someone who's been where you are doesn't solve everything, but it reminds you you're not alone. You're not broken, and you're not stuck. Now let's talk about number 3, putting your own health on the back burner. It's one of those things we don't even notice we're doing. You might skip meals, sleep less, stop going to your regular doctor appointments, or just stop caring about your physical health altogether. It's not because you want to neglect yourself. It's because the emotional pain takes over everything else. And when you're grieving, even simple tasks feel exhausting. But here's the hard truth. This is when your health matters more than ever. Losing your spouse is one of the most stressful events a human being can go through. That stress doesn't just affect your emotions, it impacts your body too. It raises blood pressure, weakens your immune system, disrupts your sleep, and can even increase your risk for heart problems. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to remind you that taking care of yourself isn't selfish. It's survival. You don't have to train for a marathon. Just start small. Take a walk around the block. Stretch in the morning. Eat something with actual nutrients. Drink water. These little habits over time rebuild strength, not just in your body, but in your mind too. Staying active helps reduce symptoms of depression and anxiety, improves memory and boosts your mood, and it helps you sleep better, which, let's be honest, is something many grieving people struggle with. Let's say someone like Miriam, 68 years old, used to go for walks every evening with her husband. After he passed, she stopped going. What's the point, she thought. But months later, her daughter encouraged her to join a local senior walking group. It felt awkward at first, being around strangers trying to make small talk. But over time, those walks became more than exercise. They became moments of connection. She started looking forward to them, even laughing again. That little shift, just showing up, started her on a path back to herself. And don't forget those medical checkups. If you've been putting off seeing your doctor, now is the time to go. I know it feels like one more thing on an already heavy list, but managing your existing health conditions, staying on top of your medications, and checking in with a professional can make a huge difference in how you feel day to day. It's not about perfection, it's about prevention. The sooner you get in front of any issues, the easier they are to deal with. But let's not stop at physical health. We've got to talk about mental health too. Grief isn't just sadness. It can show up as anxiety, numbness, brain fog, even anger or guilt. And if you try to tough it out alone, those feelings can spiral into depression, hopelessness, or worse. You don't need to handle this by yourself. Reaching out for help, whether it's a therapist, a grief counselor, or a support group, isn't a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Even talking to a trusted friend can lift some of the weight. You don't have to share everything. Just being able to say, I'm struggling today, can be enough. When you hold everything in, it builds. But when you release even a little bit of it, you start to breathe again. Your spouse would want you to keep living, to care for yourself, to do more than survive. And taking care of your health is one way to honor their memory, not by forgetting them, but by continuing to live in a way that respects the love you shared. That leads us to number 4, rushing into a new relationship too soon. This one's tough to talk about because the loneliness that comes after losing a spouse is so deep, so raw, that the idea of companionship can feel like the only thing that'll make life bearable again. And there's nothing wrong with wanting connection. But the problem starts when people jump into something new, before they've even had time to really grieve what was lost. Think about it. When you've shared your life with someone for 20, 30, 50 years, their absence leaves a massive hole. And sometimes we try to fill that hole as quickly as possible, not because we're ready, but because the emptiness feels unbearable. That can lead to entering relationships based on comfort, not compatibility. You may feel relief at first, but that relief can quickly turn into confusion, guilt, or regret when you realize you weren't truly ready. Here's an example. Tom, 74, lost his wife after 40 years together. A few months later, a woman he knew from his church started showing interest. He felt flattered, even excited. They started spending time together, and before long, they were calling each other every day. But it didn't take long before Tom began to feel overwhelmed. He wasn't ready for someone else in his life, not really. He hadn't even processed the full weight of his loss. That relationship, which started out comforting, ended up adding more confusion and sadness. He realized what he needed first was time to heal. Grief has no timeline. Some people need years before they feel ready to date again. Others may feel open to the idea sooner. There's no right or wrong, but you owe it to yourself and to any future partner to make sure your heart is clear before starting something new. Otherwise, you may find yourself comparing the new person to the one you lost, or worse, trying to use them as a replacement. That's not fair to either of you, and sadly, there are people out there who prey on widows and widowers, scammers, manipulators, even just selfish people who see your vulnerability as an opportunity. If someone comes on too strong, asks for money, tries to isolate you from your loved ones, or pressures you to move fast, that's a big red flag. True companionship should never feel like pressure. It should feel like peace. You deserve love, yes, but you also deserve time. Time to grieve. Time to rediscover who you are without your spouse. Time to build a life that feels grounded before adding someone new into the mix. That way, if and when you do enter a relationship again, it's not out of desperation, it's out of genuine connection, respect, and readiness. If you're thinking about dating again, talk to people you trust. Reflect on what you really want and whether you're emotionally prepared for that step. Don't let outside opinions rush you. Whether someone thinks you're moving too fast or too slow, that's not their call to make. It's your life, your journey, and there is no expiration date on healing. The best relationships, whether they come a year or 10 years after loss, are the ones built on strength, not survival. Don't look for someone to rescue you from your grief. Look for someone to walk beside you once you've learned how to walk again on your own. Now let's move on to number 5, holding on to every possession without letting go. This one hits deep. When you lose someone you've shared your life with, their belongings aren't just things, they're memories. They carry stories, smells, textures, reminders of the life you built together. The idea of letting go of even one item can feel like letting go of them all over again. And for many people, that pain is just too much to face, so they don't. They leave everything exactly the way it was. The shoes stay by the door, the clothes hang untouched in the closet, the nightstand remains just as it was. And in the beginning, that can be comforting. It makes them feel close. It's like your loved one might walk through the door at any moment. But over time, instead of soothing you, that unchanging space can actually keep you stuck. It can freeze your healing, making it harder to adjust to a world that's already changed around you. Let me tell you about Harold. He was 76 when he lost his wife after 55 years together. For months, he didn't touch a thing in the house. Her robe stayed on the hook, her slippers under the bed, her favorite tea still sitting on the kitchen counter. At first, it brought him comfort, but over time, he realized he was walking through a museum of his own pain. He couldn't sit in the living room without crying. He couldn't go to bed without feeling haunted by the silence. He was living in a shrine, not a home. Eventually, he started slow. He kept a few special things: a handwritten letter she once gave him, a necklace she wore every Sunday, their wedding photo. He created a small space in the house just for those items, somewhere he could go when he wanted to remember. Then over time, he began donating the rest. He didn't rush. He gave himself permission to grieve through it. But every item he passed on made room for something new: peace, stillness, breath. And that's the key. Letting go doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean you're erasing their memory. It means making space to live again. You don't have to give away everything. Keep what's meaningful, something that reminds you of their laugh, their warmth, their love. But recognize that holding on to everything isn't the only way to keep them close. Love isn't stored in furniture or coats or shoes. It's stored in your heart, your memories, your stories. That's what lasts. What makes this mistake even harder is pressure from others. Well-meaning family and friends might say, "You should clean out the closet," or "It's time to move on." But this isn't about timelines. This is about emotional readiness. If you're not ready, that's okay. But if you are, if there's a part of you that wants to feel lighter, give yourself permission to take that step. Not for anyone else, but for your own healing. There are ways to let go with love. Maybe you turn your spouse's old shirts into a memory quilt. Maybe you give their favorite books to your grandchildren. Maybe you frame a recipe they wrote in their own handwriting. These things allow their memory to continue, just in a way that breathes instead of weighing you down. Repurposing can be powerful. It transforms grief into legacy, and that legacy can be shared, not hidden away in drawers or boxes collecting dust. Some widows and widowers worry that letting go means they're betraying their spouse. That's just not true. What they'd want more than anything is for you to be okay, to keep living, to laugh again, to love again, to find joy in small things. They wouldn't want their belongings to be a barrier between you and your future. They'd want them to be a bridge to healing, not a wall that keeps you stuck. The other thing to remember is grief changes over time. What you can't part with today, you may feel differently about a year from now. So be gentle with yourself. Start small, open one drawer, sort one box, and if that's all you can do for now, that's enough. Every little step you take is an act of courage. It's a movement toward healing. And if you don't know where to start, ask someone you trust to help. Not to push, but to support you. Sometimes having a calm, compassionate presence nearby makes all the difference. You don't have to do this alone. You're not meant to carry it all by yourself. And remember, it's not about getting over your spouse. It's about learning how to live while still carrying their love inside you. Here's something beautiful. When you make space in your life, you also make space for joy. That doesn't mean you won't still have hard days. You will. But when you clear away the things that are holding you in the past, you create room for new moments, new memories, new meaning. You're not dishonoring your loved one by moving forward. You're honoring them by living fully, because that's what they would have wanted for you. So if you've held on to everything out of fear or guilt, take a breath. You're not alone. So many people have been there. But just know, it's okay to start letting go. You're not leaving them behind. You're bringing them with you in a different way, a healthier way, a way that allows you to step into the rest of your life with grace, strength, and yes, even hope. And if you're still here, still watching, still listening, drop a comment with the number 5. Let me know you're walking through this journey with me. You are not invisible. Your grief matters. Your story matters. And I want you to know this channel is a space for healing, not judgment. If you haven't subscribed yet, now's the time. Hit the bell so you never miss a new video that speaks to your heart. Your support keeps this channel going and helps others who are walking this road too. Now, before we close, let me say this. Grief is messy. It doesn't move in a straight line. Some days you'll feel okay. Others you'll feel like you're drowning. That's normal. That's human. But each step you take, no matter how small, is progress. And just by being here, listening, learning, reflecting, you're already moving forward. And that's something to be proud of. Now let's take a moment to breathe. Because if you've made it this far, you've just taken in a lot. 5 big truths, 5 common mistakes that so many people make after losing a spouse. Not because they're doing something wrong, but because grief is disorienting, overwhelming, and deeply human. There's no manual for this. No one prepares us for what it really feels like when the person we built our life with is suddenly gone. We're left holding pieces of ourselves we don't know how to put back together. But here's what I want you to hear. You're not broken. You're grieving. And there's a difference. Grief is not a flaw. It's not something to fix. It's love stretching across time and space, still trying to reach the person you lost. That's why it hurts so much. And yet inside that hurt is something powerful. It means you had something real, something worth missing, something that mattered. So if you found yourself stuck in one of these mistakes, avoiding people, skipping medical checkups, ignoring your own needs, rushing into a new relationship, or clinging to every single belonging, don't shame yourself. Don't beat yourself up. Instead, start where you are. Just becoming aware of these patterns is already a step toward healing. Because now, you can begin to make new choices. Choices rooted in compassion, not fear, in hope, not guilt. Let's go back through them quickly, not to rehash, but to reflect. Number 1, isolating yourself. It's easy to do, but reaching out, even just to one person, can change everything. Loneliness is heavy, but connection, even in small doses, is powerful medicine. Number 2, neglecting your physical and mental health. Listen, your body matters, your mind matters, your life still matters. Don't put yourself at the bottom of the list. Make that doctor's appointment. Take that walk. Talk to someone. You deserve to feel well. Number 3, ignoring emotional pain. You can't outrun grief. You can't bury it. It will find you eventually, so give it space. Cry when you need to. Yell when it hurts, but also breathe. Meditate. Journal. Talk. Let the pain move through you so it doesn't stay stuck inside you. Number 4, rushing into a new relationship. This one is tough because we all want comfort. We want someone to hold us, to say it's going to be okay. But don't jump into something just because you're afraid to be alone. Let yourself heal first. That way, when love does come again, if it comes again, it'll be something real, not just a reaction to pain. And number 5, holding on to everything without letting go. Keep what brings you peace, not what weighs you down. You can honor your loved one by carrying their memory forward, not by turning your home into a place where healing is impossible. Now I know, even as I say all this, that grief doesn't take orders. It doesn't follow logic. Some days you'll feel strong and clear-headed. Other days you'll feel like you're back at square one. That's okay. Healing isn't a straight road. It's a winding one, full of setbacks and breakthroughs, and no two people walk it the same way. But here's what's universal. Your healing is allowed to take up space. You are allowed to put yourself first, to cry when you need to, rest when you need to, laugh when it comes naturally. You are still alive, and that means you still have a purpose. That doesn't end when someone dies. That continues. It shifts. It deepens. But it continues. And maybe right now that purpose is just getting through the day. That's valid. Maybe it's making one healthy choice, or connecting with one person, or letting go of one item you've been afraid to touch. Those small moments, they matter. They build on each other. Over time, they become the bridge between where you are and where you're going. And yes, where you're going might still feel unclear. That's okay too. You don't need to have it all figured out. Just focus on the next step, then the one after that. Healing isn't a finish line, it's a process. And even in the middle of the mess, even in the ache, you are making progress just by continuing to show up. So here's what I want you to do. Choose one thing from today's video that really hit home for you. Just one. Maybe it's reaching out to a friend. Maybe it's drinking more water. Maybe it's finally booking that checkup. Whatever it is, commit to it. Write it down, put it on a sticky note, tell someone, then follow through. It doesn't have to be big, just real, just honest. And if you feel comfortable, share it in the comments. Let's build a space here that's more than just a video. It's a community, a place where we help each other carry the weight. You don't have to carry this alone anymore. And if you know someone else who's grieving, share this video with them. You never know what message might help them take their next breath. Coming up next, we're going to wrap this all up with a message just for you. The person sitting there, maybe still in pain, maybe feeling a little lighter, maybe somewhere in between. I want to speak directly to you now, the the one still watching, the one who's made it through this entire video, minute by minute, truth by truth. That tells me something important. You're not just surviving, you're searching. You're looking for answers, for comfort, for guidance. And more than anything, you're looking for a little bit of hope. Let me give you some. What you're going through right now is something most people will never fully understand unless they've lived it. Losing a spouse is not just losing a person, it's losing a future, a routine, a rhythm of life you probably took for granted because it was always just there. The morning coffee shared quietly, the way you both knew what the other was thinking with just a look. The sounds, the silence, the habits, the small stuff that made your life yours. And now it's changed. All of it. That absence, it's loud, it's real, and it doesn't go away quickly. Sometimes it doesn't ever fully leave, it just changes shape. Some days it'll feel like a wave crashing over you, sudden, sharp, suffocating. Other days it's a dull ache sitting in the background. And once in a while it surprises you by feeling softer, manageable, even peaceful. And that's what healing looks like. Not the absence of pain, but the presence of moments where pain doesn't run the show anymore, where you can breathe a little easier, where laughter doesn't feel like betrayal, where you feel your own presence again. That's what I want for you. Now, if no one else has told you this today, hear it from me. You are doing better than you think. Even on the days you feel like a mess, even on the days when getting out of bed is the only victory you can manage, you are carrying something incredibly heavy and you're still standing. That is strength. That is resilience. That is courage. And no, strength doesn't mean hiding your emotions. It doesn't mean putting on a brave face for everyone else. Real strength is feeling everything and showing up anyway, crying when it hurts, asking for help, letting others in, giving yourself the same kindness you'd give someone you love. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. Maybe today your mind is spinning with everything we've covered: loneliness, health, emotions, relationships, memories. And that's okay. You don't have to fix everything today. You don't have to solve grief like it's a problem. It's not a math equation, it's a process, a journey. And today you took a brave step on that journey just by listening. So what now? Where do you go from here? The truth is, no one can answer that but you. But I can offer a suggestion. Keep going, but gently. Don't rush. Don't compare your grief to anyone else's. Don't worry if people around you don't get it. Some will. Some won't, but you know your story, you know your heart, and it deserves to heal at its own pace. Think about what you want the next chapter of your life to feel like. Not in some big, overwhelming way, but in small details. Do you want more peace, more connection, more meaning? Great. What's one small thing you can do this week to move in that direction? Maybe it's journaling. Maybe it's calling a friend. Maybe it's taking a walk in a place that brings you calm. Start there. Then build from that place. And remember, your spouse wouldn't want you to stop living. They loved you. They chose you. They stood by your side for years, maybe decades. And while their chapter in your story was profound, your story doesn't end with them. They would want you to find moments of joy again, to laugh without guilt, to love without fear, to remember them with warmth, not just sadness. You don't have to rush. You don't have to erase the past. But you do get to turn the page. You get to rediscover yourself. You get to live a life that honors them, not by clinging to pain, but by embracing growth. And in time, you may find that your love for them is not lost. It's simply transformed. It lives on in your actions, your memories, and your heart. So as we wrap up, let me leave you with this. You are not alone. Not in your grief, not in your fears, not in your hope. This community is here for you. If this video helped, share it, subscribe, comment, "I'm still here" if you watched all the way to the end. I want to know who's out there listening, healing, hoping, because the world needs people like you, people who've known deep love, deep loss, and still choose to move forward. You carry wisdom, you carry strength, you carry a story that deserves to keep unfolding. Take care of yourself, reach out when you need support, be gentle with your heart. And know that healing is not a destination. It's a series of steps, taken one day at a time, in the direction of peace. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being here. You are not forgotten. You are not invisible. You are deeply valued, and you are still becoming.